the controls just flat stopped working. They just did. Parry. Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for War 8 of the season for Loki. We're finally getting some wins going here. Really pumped up, coming off of a 7-fight war, all solos, taking out a rank 4 Nimrod Boss. It was a really clean war. I was really pumped up on it. And I had 8 fights in this one, and I was pumped up for all of them. All of them. And you're going to see me do my best to stay calm, despite some serious bugged interactions, bugs, more bugs, and then, well, let's just go ahead and get to it. Let's just have some fun here. All right. So we're going up against this Aggression, Prowess, Storm, Pyramid X. I think she's also going to have one of those nodes. Yeah, Power Focus 2. I was assigned Apoc for this. No need to bring in the Cable Synergy because he's going to go up against a mutant right away. This is the kind of planning that happens in 4 Loki. PWF Clown knocking it out of the park all the time. Every war. So you can see we're big boy boosted. I don't play Apoc that much, but I really pretty much just play Miguel a lot because I do a lot of war. But here we go. The whole plan is going to be just to kind of slowly get to my SP2, and bait her SP1s. I know that evade really well. If I can, I'd like to keep her prowess charges down, right? Because it's those prowess charges that will, I believe, make her go unblockable, which will make that SP2 do a lot of damage, maybe potentially in me. I have no idea why she stayed unblockable as long as she did there. I don't know. Maybe there's a good reason for it. Maybe it's in her kit, and some of you will let me know. I'd be pleased to know that that's actually in her kit. So anyways, here we go. We're continue on. Maybe it's the node, but that's more what I am used to right there, is that it ending with the special. Again, not going to focus on that too much. We've got plenty of other really fun things to focus on coming up in this war video. Okay, so we're getting close to our SP2. I've got the big power back boosts on. This is a rank 3 Apoc. And the health pool on the Storm, we didn't check it at the beginning of the fight, but it's not going to be much. I can't imagine it's more than like 120,000, if that. So we're going in, and let's see. It looks like I decided to be super ultra safe and get her to one more SP1. The fight was going very smoothly. I was actually feeling really good about it at this point. All right, yeah. So I'm setting this up. And I think I didn't punish. I remember thinking like, oh, I'm paying this conservatively. Might as well go ahead and just finish that off. Throw that nice big SP2. Look how much power back. We're already back to 2 bars of power. You saw how much damage it did. So I know that I can just go in and punish. At least I should here, and just go immediately to my SP2. Come on. Yeah, there we go. All right. So that fight is down. And again, the big concern for me with that one was potentially pushing her to her SP2. I don't know that evade very well. That could have been a problem, but we're fine. Apoc, you got the whole thing, right? And I believe we did put on the indestructible boost also, just in case that had happened. So now we're going up against this, and this is where things start to, the wheels start to fall off the bus, as they say. So we've still got all our big boosts on. We've got this ebb and flow knockdown, power focus 1. Bubble shield's going to be the one that I'm really going to have to kind of pay attention to. And you're going to see me spend the least 30 to 45 seconds just kind of getting a flow for this fight, kind of getting an understanding for it. I do have one more fight coming up with Apocalypse, but again, for me, if you've seen my war videos, I'm all about like, if it's 1% or 100%, I don't really care too much. That's not where my priority is. I just want to get through the fight successfully. So here we go. So this is an interesting one, right? So he throws his SP1, and that's really where this could go bad. This is where this could go sideways because it's bubble shield. There's so many hits in that SP1 of his that you want to do what you can to not have that happen, basically. So I will be doing things to make it so he does not want to throw his SP1. I will be trying to end my combos early. If that is the case, immediately go into block, meaning if he has over a bar of power, and I'm fearful that he will throw that SP1, I want to entice him to not, in essence. So here we go. And you can see, I remember right around here, I'm like, okay, I've kind of got a sense of the node. I've got a sense of how much damage I'm doing. I'm feeling pretty good. And then I'm just going to go in, try to get his first life down. Now, I'm going to make one more pretty big mistake here. I know it's going to be coming up. And there's also a moment. We've got the concussion on him. Now, watch this. Notice the SP1 did not do enough hits for the bubble shield. And then there, he just goes unblockable. He just does. There's no reason for it. There's no good reason for it. There's no obvious reason for it. The SP1 only did a couple hits of the bubble shield. Should have done more. Talked to everyone in my alliance chat, and they're like, it's got to be that like 35% concussion that I have up from my SP2, I believe it is. So I saw that, and then I saw him go unblockable just with a random hit, and I was like, okay, we just no more screwing around. Just get this fight over with. I should have let the heavy fully knock him down before I threw that SP3. That would have removed the protection, got the fury. So that was a mistake there. And then after that, I was like, okay, if that's what the concussion is going to do to this node, then I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to at least try to get an advantage of it, knowing that things are going to be a bit wonky. I'm still landing parries and hits, so I'm feeling okay with that. I really don't know how to make too much sense. I'm not going to be able to calculate all the hits in the SP1 and take. Basically, I didn't feel comfortable knowing when he was going to go unblockable. So I was like, I'm just going to play the fight as best I can, assuming that the counter is going to be indicative of when he's going to go unblockable. And then I'll take advantage of all of those SP1 hits, not counting for the Bubble Shield counter. I want to bait his heavies if I can, or get intercept and get to that SP2, because I know as soon as I get to it, this fight will be over. I have gone a little bit more patient to let that that second life of his go down. And then we just finish him off with that big SP2. So there was a lot of like having to kind of figure out what was going wrong, why it was going wrong, and what I could potentially do about it, if anything, in the fight. I just decided to take advantage of the positives that came my way. And then if he goes unblockable, there's nothing I can do about it. There's just not, so I had to just pretend like he wouldn't just randomly go unblockable. All right, now we're going up against this Power Snack Sasquatch. If you saw my last war video, like I said, the one that was really clean, I talked about how much easier this Sasquatch fight is than when he's on 26. Because on this one, I can parry freely, get my exhaustion up, which will totally turn off his Wrath of Tanarak. Like, this fight for me was probably the easiest of my whole war. Maybe the Storm X, because she was so happy to throw her special ones. But this one just gonna land my exhaustion there, which means he's not gonna get any Tanarath charges as long as that's up. And I'm already starting to notice though, something's wrong. I was able to get my dex in there, but I'm gonna start landing parries when I do not mean to. You're gonna see it, it's gonna just start happening. There I make a mistake, and that's fine. I make that mistake sometimes, run into the unstoppable armor, not really worried about it. But here we go, it's about to start happening. You're gonna see me parry when I do not mean to. But right now I'm like, this fight's still looking fine. This is still looking fine. I made a mistake, I'll heal up, no big deal. There, no dex, just take a shot to the face. Like, I dexed that. I know I did. I did not mean to parry that. I did not mean to parry that. I'm trying to dex out so that I can pause my debuffs. I've now lost my wither, I've lost my exhaustion, and this is just going to continue for the rest of this fight. You're gonna just see, the controls just flat stopped working. They just did. Parries were meant to be dexes. Dexes were the few that I do. I'm gonna get one more in here. I think this right here. So it seemed like maybe from distance it was still working. I have no explanation. I could not explain it to anyone. I went into my BG channel. I was like, guys, the controls just stopped working. I've been using the input refractor since it was allowed for CCP to use it. It saved me. It was 2 seasons ago now, I believe, or last season. And it was immediately better. I could tell the mistakes were my own again. And I was okay with that, right? I would always tell you guys, if I make a mistake or I make a bad play, I tell you. So why would I lie, first of all? But two, so that I can learn, you can learn, we can all learn. Everyone makes mistakes. I don't care. But also because I want you guys to be able to believe me when these things happen. And you can see, I'm back. I'm playing Miguel again. I'm able to bounce around. Dexing is fine. I didn't even exit the game. I was just so irritated. There was nothing. It's not like I reset the game. Nothing. I logged on to do war. I wasn't doing a bunch of arena for an hour beforehand, and like things started to fail. I mean, I know these are all ideas that people have brought up and come up with, and they're great ideas, and they make a lot of sense. But that's not what happened. So here we go. This is how the fight should go. You see me dexing to pause my debuffs. We've got our ruptures up. We've got our wither going. I'm going to hit into his block to get the ruptures going, and the exhaustion is still up. So we've paused it again. He has 0 Wrath of Tanarak charges. I think I'm going to go in and land my SP2 and just get out of this fight. Looks like I decided to pause him again. Not sure why. But so that was extremely frustrating. That was extremely frustrating for me. It was very reminiscent of, I don't remember if it was last season or 2 seasons ago, when I really was wondering if I wanted to even do war at all anymore, because mistakes weren't mine. It's just so, we'll move on, because trust me, there's more. All right, so now we've gotten into this. I did take Dex off for this, right? Because there is Spite. I did not want to deal with that. Getting Kingpin to his SP2 could be a serious, serious problem. So what I need to pay attention to is the Unstoppable Armor Global. That's that passive that's kind of moving down. Right there, I know I landed that repair. I know for a fact that I did. But nope, no block, nothing. Just take a shot to the face. That's why I pause it for you. And I just, not that I was happy to have that happen, but it further convinced me that there's nothing I could do about any of this. So I'm just going to play the game as best I can. I can't quit in the middle of war, right? I can't go to the corner and pout. I've got 8 fights, including the boss. My alliance needs me to do this. So I'm just going to do my level best. We've got our big power back boosts on. When you're going up against this fight against Kingpin, you want to make sure that the unstoppable armor timer is as low as possible, meaning there's as much time left as possible before it to trigger, because Apocalypse's specials are so long. That's where this could really go sideways, if he goes unstoppable in the middle of your special and then just beats the heck out of you while you thought you were going to land a special. So you see how well it can work. Now, great, right? Domino can cause problems when the game is working, but now I'm going up against Domino without the White Magneto pre-fight. And I know, like, my last 2 fights, I've taken 3 fights. Like, if we consider the Sasquatch one to be 2, 2 of my last 3, like, the game just doesn't work. Like, there's... All right, so here we go. The plan is to hit into her block to get ruptures going as much as possible, and then I do need to dex at some point. There we go, it worked. I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna be all right. Maybe the problems are behind us. There's gonna be some crit failures. I'm used to that. I've taken this fight before. She crit fails some of those pauses. That's fine. Right now, I am winning this fight. I'm not worried. You saw me dex out of that. I know how to do the dex out of that first hit of hers. No problem there. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But I'm like, all right, I'm still winning this fight. I wish I had my Wither up. She gets her really elongated lucky, which means I got to be really careful hitting into her, right? Don't want to do any medium. She could evade and just destroy me. There, we should have had a parry and get an intercept, but she's now gone lucky again. Really scared to throw my SP2. I'm like, we're all right. We'll just got to throw our special 3. Can't do it. Then try to dex out of that, get out of 1 hit, throw my special 3. Now she's going to get a really long stun that I can't take advantage of because she's going to be at so many bars of power. You guys can't see it, my face cam's blocking, but she's pretty close to it. I'm like, all right, we're still okay. Let's keep the slow up. That'll be helpful. Nope, she just... This is so frustrating to watch back. This is so... I debated not even making this one, but I wanted you guys to see it because I know there's a lot of talk about how the input refactor is saving everything. And I was a person who was so on it, and I really was. I thought it was great because mistakes were mine again. I did have to relearn some timing. There's still some issues with extra large champions in my opinion, but at least it was consistent. And this was the first time this showed me that in the middle of a fight or from a fight to the next, the inconsistency is just there, or it is inconsistent. And additionally, I mean, your controls will just stop working. I'm not gonna name names here, but I had a couple alliance mates who are also in the CCP reach out to me and say, like, you know what, dude, I had a war 2 wars ago. I had the exact same thing happen. They're like, it was one fight, I just turned the refactor off. One of the best players in our alliance is having an amazing season, like 3 or 4 in a row now, almost itemed out in an upcoming war. And you can watch it. It's like he just put his phone down, kind of like what you're seeing here. Is like they just put their phone down. You saw how you could clean up that fight against Domino. So I'm like, okay, again, I'm just gonna we'll talk about the item usage at the end of this one, then the loyalty. So now I'm going up against this Mojo. I've taken this fight seriously 16, 17, 18 times. And I always make one mistake. I always make one mistake in the dash back and block. And you're gonna see I don't make a single one, which I'm not gonna say I just improved overnight, like I improved from the Domino fight to this one, I went straight into it. I think the controls were just off. The consistency wasn't there. And that's what's so important to us as players, is that we need them to be the same every time. So I guess in theory on this fight it benefited me, but I would solo this fight anyway. I don't think I've ever died to it with Mr. Negative or Miguel. So anyways, for those who've never seen this before, you want to obviously dash back to pause your debuffs. You can get a really nice dash back, then parry. The Mojo just kind of goes in there, right? It feels almost like a re-parry in a way. And then it's feats of indestructible too. So you want to make sure that you let enough time go by after you reach 2 bars of power to let his indestructible go down, and then you can end it like there, like you just saw. So that's a good fight. I didn't make a single mistake, which kind of furthered my certainty that there was just something wrong with the input to the game. So now we're going into this fight against Mangog with the unstoppable armor, improved power gain. I usually do an indestructible on this because, like I say this every time because I know it can happen. I've seen this fight go sideways for very good players with rank 4 6200 Spider-Man 99 with Miguel's. I always believe that if you can, just play as aggressively as possible while still keeping an eye on the unstoppable armor timer. And you want to play aggressive, you want to hit into his block, and then let him throw his SP1s. You do need him to throw those SP1s because it goes sideways if he gets to his SP2. No one knows how to dex it, to the best of my knowledge. And even if you're an indestructible on, you're still going to lose like 70 to 80%, if not more, of your health. So it's a bad time. And then don't combo too much like I just did. The 4 hits, probably didn't even need to do that. Probably should have just done 3. You definitely don't want to do 5 because that's giving rage and resistance to Mangog. But just do this. And the reason you don't want to do too many, in my opinion, is because you want to be dexty and you want to make sure that your ruptures are staying up and definitely that your wither stays up, right? I had enough faith in that one to throw that special 2. That was a little dicey. Yeah, you can tell. I think that mistake was mine. I remember this now. I threw that special 2 and I was like, ooh, I thought it was going to finish him. It didn't. And that means he was going to have enough power there or enough rage to go into his berserk mode, whatever he calls it. But we survived it. We're fine. Stayed calm. Controls felt like they were working, so I was happy with that. That could have gotten a little dicey there, but I know his moveset very well. And again, like I said, the controls were working, so I was able to kind of get myself out of the small amount of trouble that I was in. So there we go. Now moving on to the Nimrod boss. It's going to take a minute, so you'll see me edit it out. We're going to put on the recoil masteries, which is the bleed and the poison, because Miguel takes 75% reduced damage whenever the opponent is benefiting from True Strike. So it just really simplifies this fight. It allows you to play extremely aggressively because you know that you can make a mistake. One, the damage from that mistake is significantly mitigated, and because you're running the poison and bleed, you're going to heal back up. You'll see how much willpower healing I'm getting. And I just remember at this point, I was just so annoyed. I was having a great season. Yeah, I had one stupid death, but I've been my new BG. They've been extremely accommodating to me. The plans have been great. They're helping me stay in. Like on Saturdays, I get like 4 fights. They're all ones I've like either taken before or aren't going to require too much like reinventing of the wheel. They help me out with AQ, the whole BG, not just the planners of PWF and Clown, literally the whole BG. I appreciate you guys so much. You're the reason why I'm still playing in Tier 1 and accepting of my schedule and how difficult it is. So it's just really frustrating. It was really frustrating to not have my mistakes be my own. I felt like I was letting everyone down, but at the same time, and they all said, they know me. They're like, dude, we know how you can play the game. That's obviously not you. So it's just frustrating. And then on top of it, like I said, when the refractor came in last season, it helped me feel like I could still play Tier 1 War because mistakes were my own again. You know, I'm not the greatest player in the game, and I'm comfortable with that. But I don't want to be out there dying all the time and have people planning and wondering like, oh, is it okay to assign Vega this fight? Like, I want to be an asset, whether it's one taking 8 fights in the boss or it's one just taking 3 fights and not dying. That's what I want to do. I want to have fun with my friends and not feel like they're just carrying me around. So I don't know. I don't want to get too down on this, but it was definitely disconcerting for me. Going to continue obviously to finish out the season. Hope this was just a 1 war issue. But again, like I said, I had other members of my alliance who were in the CCP reach out to me and say they had a similar issue. They turned the refractor off. And then this guy is an amazing player. And he had a war. He almost itemed out because controls just stopped working. Anyways, we ended up winning that war really well. The whole alliance actually played insanely well. And I was able to kind of joke around with it, right? Like PWF, B-Manny's an amazing guy. Been the leader of the alliance for forever. Best as long as I know. Really supportive. I really like him. And then PWF, my BG leader, one of my BG leaders, planner, amazing dude. And they were watching it, and they knew how upset I was. They knew how just like frustrated. I'm not down. I was frustrated. And so I really appreciate that. And the cool thing is like those were the only 2 deaths in my whole BG. Those 2 BS deaths were the only ones in the whole thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the season stats and then the loyalty, because trust me, this one was an expensive one. All right, the most important stat, as always for me, is the 4 Loki, 3 and 4. I happen to know how the next 4 went. We're on the right track. I know we're back up in Masters. That's our goal. And so that's awesome. Feel really good about that. Now 37 kills on season, 3 deaths. I'm going to be accurate. I'm showing them to you. There are 3. That's technically accurate. It just annoys me. 2 boss solos, 2 with Miguel. It is what it is. I showed it to you. I talked over most of it. If you have any questions about that, you can check out the war video just before this one. It's against a rank 4 Nimrod boss. I'm going to go into a lot of depth on how to take that fight, making sure you get your slow up and how much that can trivialize that fight for you. Now taking in 10 total champions, which is always fun. I love using the diversity of my roster. And then the rank 4 Null. My rank 4 Null, who's been parked on defense, got another kill. So pumped up on that. And then you see the diversity of it. Miguel's starting to take a pretty sizable lead, probably one he will not surrender the rest of the season. And let's go ahead and take a look at that loyalty, man. I think we've been spending a little bit. Okay, loyalty tracking for War 7. 8 total fights, 2 deaths. I mean, you guys saw the amount of revives. And I gotta be honest, I think that there's some in there that I didn't even account for. I was so frustrated that I stopped taking the screenshots and things like that. So I think the total is actually larger because I am giving this to Kabam and reporting this to you. I wanted to go conservatively. If I'm gonna make a mistake, I'd rather under-report than over, because I do want Kabam to actually look at this and be like, oh, this is how much these people are actually spending. And then that's just that. Then we get to the actual boosts that were used for that war. Some that had to be doubled up because of those input issues and things like that. So loyalty cost for the boost was 78,000, while loyalty cost for the potions and healing was 269,000. I still remain, only because this has been the pattern since I've played this game, however many years that is now, 6, 7, I don't even know anymore. The pattern has always remained the same, is they do something, we as a community get really upset, understandably so, we provide the feedback, Kabam then like relooks at the number, I don't know, whatever they do, and then they're like, okay, cool, and then they come way back down, and that's just the pattern. So I still hope and believe that as we enter our further seasons and when compensation is taken away, that this will be balanced out significantly. But we'll see. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Those of you who have been using the refractor, please let me know. Have you experienced this where it just works beautifully and then just out of nowhere, even in the middle of a fight, it just stops? It's as if you put your phone down or the timing has changed. And those sorts of inconsistencies make a massive, massive difference. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this hasn't been happening to you. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.